and if there is one piece that I have seen enough of for the next decade, I must say it's this one. Hey guys, my name is G.P.S. and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be chatting about some of the most overdone luxury pieces of 2020, some of which I actually quite liked and I even considered buying into. But at this point, I've seen so much of them that I'm ready to say goodbye. Last year, it would have been a genuine challenge for you to go on social media and not spot at least 10 different people featuring one, if not all of these pieces. So if you want to see some of the most overhyped and in my opinion overdone pieces that should absolutely stay in 2020, then please keep on watching. Let's start with a piece from Louis Vuitton that didn't actually launch last year but definitely came into its own with most of us staying at home, which is the so-called dreamy mink loafers. Now this was a pair of slippers in mink fur with the Louis Vuitton monogram printed all over them that actually launched a couple of years ago. I can't remember exactly when, but it's been a while since they originally launched. And I remember trying them on when they first came out, but because they were part of the women's collection, I think they only went up to a European 41, a size 41 in their women's sizing, which was way too small for me. And while I absolutely love the idea and the design, I definitely think that this is a piece that was way overdone last year. So as I mentioned, they first launched a couple of years ago, and they were not that popular. I mean, obviously among Louis Vuitton collectors, it was absolutely a piece that was very much talked about and very highly rated. But I don't think it was as popular as it became when people were asked to stay at home. I feel like as soon as it was more sort of accepted to buy luxury loungewear, this was one of the pieces that was on everyone's wish list. It was all over social media. I mean, as long as someone posted a luxury-inspired homeware set, this was definitely a part of it. Yes, they do make an incredibly luxurious fashion statement to have these on at home, but I am sort of realizing how ridiculous it sounds to spend $2,000 on a pair of luxury slippers. And don't get me wrong, I love my designer loungewear, but there are so many other slippers from different designers that don't cost an arm and a leg and are not nearly as overdone as these ones. Because I can tell you that if I didn't see these for the next decade, I'd be perfectly fine. The next product category that I could absolutely go without seeing in future launches is luxury lipstick cases, which is obviously not a product idea that launched in 2020, but brands definitely took it to the next level last year. And we have to give credit where credit is due and talk about the contemporary designer that I think sort of re-envisioned using and making lipsticks into a fashion accessory, who is Tom Ford. You may remember that a few years ago he launched this clutch bag that had a custom lipstick case on its side, which was specifically designed so it would encase one of his lipsticks. And first of all, I think it was a genius idea for him to cross-promote his makeup with his luxury line and also create something that's collectible for all the Tom Ford lovers out there, because it's a piece that people who are really into his makeup could buy, or people who are really into his fashion line would absolutely admire and would love to have in their collections. So I thought it was a great idea, but that's where I think it should have stopped. But of course it didn't. Next came Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton launched their lipstick case, which I must say was actually quite cool, and it was very representative of Louis Vuitton's values. It was quite trunk-esque. It definitely, you could see the inspiration of Louis Vuitton's trunk making, which is obviously what the brand is all about. And I believe the lipstick case itself was inspired by these sort of Art Deco ornate lipstick cases that people used back in the day. And I actually quite liked it. I mean, I love the idea. I love the fact that it came with a longer chain, so you could not only use it to obviously store your lipstick or your lip balm, but you could also make it into a fashion statement. You could wear it as a necklace or even as a crossbody bag. You could even use it as a bag charm. And I have to admit that even I played with the idea of picking it up, even though I don't wear lipstick, so there would be no point for me to have a lipstick case for my non-existent lipsticks. But I thought that maybe I could use this as a little wallet, maybe use it to store cash, because this launched at the very beginning of the micro bag craze, at a time when not as many brands had their own takes and their own versions of micro bags as they do now. So I thought it was quite a cool launch for them to do this, and I love the idea. But then I realized that it wouldn't really be functional because even if I could put a couple of notes in there, once it comes to me paying somewhere, let's say I'm standing at a counter and I want to take my cash out, what am I going to do if someone wants to give me change? What if they want to give me money back? Am I going to be standing at the counter, slowly wrapping up my notes and then tucking them back into my lipstick case? It just doesn't sound very rational. And obviously this piece doesn't claim to be one. This was not designed to be functional unless you want to use it to store your lipsticks. This was created for the avid Louis Vuitton lover, which I am not, but I can absolutely appreciate the idea. But then, of course, Chanel and Hermes had to jump on the trend. Both of them came out with similar pieces. Let's start with the Chanel one because I feel like that was probably one of the worst launches because they came out with their own take on a lipstick case in this patent leather with, of course, the iconic Chanel quilting. And you know those pictures and ads that sometimes appear on social media and on Amazon and eBay when you're checking out. You can sometimes see these promo ads for fakes and replicas out there. But as soon as you see the images, you can tell that they're promoting fakes and replicas because there are just one too many details off about these pieces. And I have to say that is exactly what this Chanel piece looks like. There are just way too many things that just kind of look off about it that make it look extremely cheap. First of all, the fact that it's made of patent leather, which, let's be honest, is not the most cutting edge modern fabric to use. I understand why they did because it is easier to clean, especially if you're going to use this as part of your makeup kit. But then it has a little CC on it. It has this weird chain that is attached to the case in a really cheap manner. I am just not a fan of this. I mean, if you told me that this is a piece that you picked up from eBay for like $20, trust me, I would believe you. But this costs, I think, over $1,000. And if you are absolutely in love with Chanel and their makeup, maybe I could see you buying this. But in my opinion, it's absolutely not worth the money. Although I don't wear lipstick, so I cannot understand the struggle of having to carry a lipstick with you. And then the other piece that I had to mention is the one that Hermes came out with. Of course, they had to come out with their own lipstick cases when they launched their own lipstick line. And at this point, I think they have three. The most recent one was a sleeve that they came out with, which I'm not even going to go into details about that because it's nothing more than just a plain leather pouch that is the exact same size as your lipstick, which I don't know why anyone would ever want to pick up because you can just use the dust bag that it comes with if you want to protect the case. They came out with one that almost looked like a little trunk for your lipstick that also came with a mirror, which was, I have to say, my favorite one. It was the most reasonably priced and it was, I think, the coolest idea. A little bit old school, but I can see the appeal. And then they came out with one that was over, I believe, $2,000 that featured the most primary, most basic, unsophisticated design. It was essentially a hard case, almost like a trunk that was pretty much the exact same shape and size as their lipstick cases. But as you opened this case up and you peeled it open, it had these two strings in the middle that pushed up the lipstick, which I don't think is a mechanism that would cost that much to make. So I have no idea how they could even come up with the pricing for this piece. Yes, I'm sure it took them a long time to wrap that hard case shell in leather, but at the same time, I don't think it takes them that long for it to be more expensive or pretty much the same price as a Picotin or a Herbag would be for a lipstick case. So I think this was the worst of it all, and when I saw this,
I was just like, okay, I cannot put up with any more lipstick cases.
And while I'm not sure if this was overdone necessarily by consumers, because I really didn't see too many people out there using these, it was definitely the most overdone by brands. So I'm truly hoping that I don't see any more lipstick cases coming up. But I'm not a lipstick lover, so if you are, do let me know what you think about these cases. The next piece I know is going to be quite controversial because this bag has been extremely popular for the last year. I think some could argue that probably one of the most popular pieces of the past seasons, which is the Bottega Cassette bag. And if there is one piece that I have seen enough of for the next decade, I must say it's this one. And I'm not actually talking about the one with the chain, which I think is the newer version. I actually quite like the one that features that substantial chain that almost looks like a piece of jewelry. I must say that I quite like the one that comes with the chain because I find that if you have that chain on top, you're a little bit more inclined to use it as a clutch bag than a crossbody bag. Because I personally don't have any issues with the Cassette bag as long as it's sitting on a shelf or as long as it's being worn as a clutch bag or as a pouch. But as soon as you put it crossbody, I think it becomes one of the most unflattering pieces that you can buy. There's just something about that super boxy, rigid structure that does not look good on anyone I find crossbody. And it's quite interesting because I recently had a friend come to me to ask for my feedback on this bag. And I told her the exact same thing. I told her that I think it looks great on the shelf, but as soon as you put it on, it starts looking incredibly awkward because it strangely doesn't take up the shape of your body, it doesn't form to you. Instead, it's just flapping against your side almost like a piece of deli meat because those bulging pieces of woven leather kind of make it look like just a piece of ham in certain colors. And I'm not sure if I'm the only one who gets that image, even though I don't even eat pork, but it's just not a flattering look in my opinion. Yes, I like the idea of it and it looks good when it's being carried as a clutch bag or as a pouch, but definitely not against the human body. And I thought that the reason might have been the fact that the leathers are so padded. And then I had a chance to look at the one where the leathers aren't actually padded and it looks even worse. At least the padded cassette looks good on the shelf, it looks interesting, but the one without the padding kind of looks like something you made in arts and crafts. Because do you remember those projects that you had to do as kids in school where you took different colored pieces of paper and you sort of put them together to create these different motifs? That's exactly what that bag reminds me of. It doesn't look like a nearly $2,000 bag. Instead, it looks like something that you made at home, which if that's your aesthetic, go for it. But I don't know if I would want to pay thousands of dollars for it. So this bag definitely is not a winner for me. I think if it came in a smaller size, maybe it would be better because you could get away with styling it in a way that it wouldn't really stand out against your body. But in the current sizes, I think you can definitely do much better with $3,000. And last but not least, the pieces that I am definitely getting a little bit tired of seeing at this point is one that could absolutely be considered a full-on trend at this point, which is vanity case inspired mini bags. And this trend was absolutely started and revived by Louis Vuitton and Dior when they first started coming out with these bags that were very clearly inspired by vanity cases. But I think it was Chanel who last year refined the trend and took it to the next level. And they launched an entire line that consisted of these different shapes and sizes of mini vanity bags that came with a longer chain that you could use to pretty much use them crossbody or just as a regular Chanel bag. And I have to say that I came pretty close to buying into this trend because I completely fell in love with a couple of the square shapes that would actually fit a card inside. But I think that's exactly where they should have quit. They should have quit and stopped making these pieces while they were at the peak. Although I understand that's not how business works. But of course they had to push this trend further and they came out with new versions of it for the past 2 seasons. They first relaunched them with these little pearl details on the chain, and then now for pre-spring summer 2021, they have them available in this sort of raffia fabric, and then I think they also have one in crochet. But these new mini vanity cases are all the craze again, and I absolutely loved them when they first launched. Maybe I liked them because they were impossible to get. But now that they are again being brought back time after time after time, I am getting a little bit over this whole trend, and I'm wondering how long it's going to last, because Chanel is definitely being inspired by these trends for their entire spring summer 2021 line. They didn't only come out with those new fabrics and new colorways that I mentioned earlier, but they are coming out with new shapes that are again inspired by Vanity bags, which, don't get me wrong, are absolutely adorable, and I have no doubt they're going to look super cute once they actually launch. But we've been playing this same game of looking at vanity cases and how we can twist and turn a vanity case into a bag. And I'm hoping that we will see some more innovative ideas in the coming seasons. But this pretty much sums up my video on all the trends and luxury pieces that I've seen plenty of in 2020. And I could absolutely go on without seeing more of them. But I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section. Please let me know if you are a fan of any one of these trends, if there are any trends and pieces that you are tired of seeing and you wish went away. Do let me know in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, then please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.